guys, it's Seb, and, well, it's been a long time since I've done any news regarding Rinascita, or any of my games, actually, so I'm just gonna, even though it's of an update video, it's more on Rinascita, because that's the game that everyone wants to know about the most, so for the delay for Rinascita, the main reason why it's not being worked on as much as I'm hoping it would be is because my lack of news. It's not that I'm not interested, it's just I have so many other stuff going on in my life that I'm very distracted, I lose focus very easily, and like when I had opened up Rinascita a while back, I just stared at the screen and then shut down RPG Maker because I do not know what I want to do. I have no interest in coding the game, but it's not that it's canceled or anything, it's just I'm having a difficult time just trying to sorry, excuse me, just trying to get my focus back on the game. But the good news is I'm actually starting to slowly get back on focus, so I am currently still working on Chapter 4. Throughout the year, I've been working on different portions of the game, just small things, like, say, just on different plots of the story. But I'm hoping to finish up Chapter 4, because Chapter 4 probably has 4 or 5 more cutscenes in the story, and they're not too long except for the last one, but if I worked on them, they probably would take at least a few weeks to get done, just the coding and then the beta testing and all that. But I'm just trying to figure out dialogue and all that stuff because I haven't worked on specifically on Chapter 4 in a long time, so I have to get back on the swing of things. Excuse me. But what I plan to do for now is I'm not going to show another preview because I want to keep the end of Chapter 4 more of a surprise. But what I want to do is sort of explain like what's going to happen next after Feliciano leaves Germany, because spoiler, that does happen. So I'm just going to explain the next 2 chapters, or the next 2 arcs. They're going to be more than 2 chapters. The next arc that's planned for the game is the Russia arc. Now, what happened is in Chapter 4 is if you see my last update video of Feliciano meeting an angel. They do make an agreement. Again, spoiler. But they do make an agreement, and the angel is more like a protector for Feliciano and helps him out when he needs it. And I'll get to more on the angel when I explain some of the UCs. So Feliciano is having trouble. He and another character get separated from the group, from Canada, Prussia, Austria, and Hungary. So he gets separated, and the angel had just teleported him there had teleported him there because he was separated underground. So the angel has suggested, oh, why don't we just teleport somewhere else? Because you'll die under here, and there's no way out. So Feliciano goes like, yeah, you're right, let's go somewhere else. The angel teleports them in the dead middle of a blizzard with negative the temperatures. So yeah, the angel didn't help all that much. And where they went was Russia. And Feliciano gets separated from his companion, who I will still not explain. So he gets separated, but he comes across Belarus and Ukraine, and they explain that they had got separated as well from a family member. So there's bonding moments there. After the storm sets out, they go out to find the family member, who actually in turn finds Feliciano's companion and takes him in. But yeah, I'm just gonna put this up here. I'm just gonna put up who the character is that Belarus and Ukraine had got separated from. Yep, it is Vanya. Old Man Vanya. He is in the game. His role at this point is still undetermined, but he makes an appearance in the next arc, and I'm not gonna explain like how he develops. So, but I'm just letting y'all know he's in the game. And then eventually, Feliciano leaves Russia, and this goes into the next arc of the story. And I was not going to really explain this next arc that much, and I'm not going to, but let's just say Feliciano finally finds Germany. And this arc is honestly the most I'm excited for, because you'll have a lot more of the characters like come together as a large group, and they head towards northern Italy, which is neutral from the war. So that's the nation's main goal, is to head to northern Italy so they could have a safe place to hide from. So yeah, those are the next 2 arcs without really spoiling too much of them. So now I'm going to explain some of the OCs. Now, I don't want to explain, like, give out too much of the plot, but these OCs I'm going to mention are part of the more of the backstory, except for the Angel and their companion, who I will bring up more of when I get to them. So I'm going to start with the Angel, just to get them out of the way, because they are more of a more major character than the other OCs. Now, the Angel's name is Serenity, and I'm going with non-binary pronouns because they are actually a gender, despite them having a more feminine body. They, along with reviving the dead, as they can also do numerous other abilities, and shape-shifting is actually one of them, so they can change not only their body, but their gender. So since they've been both genders, they don't really have an identification with either. So they decided to be not non-binary, agender around there. So they're neither gender. We're not really sure how old they are. They just came to Earth one day and they've been here, just somewhere. But there's not much more known to their backstory. They're very quiet. They like to keep to themselves. They speak their mind bluntly, yes, but they don't want anyone to know what they're thinking. And that's, I won't say it's for the better, but we don't know, like, much about them, and so, yeah. Aside from Feliciano, they don't have much of a relationship with any other character except 2, which I'm not going to explain one of them, but I'll explain the other. Their other companion is, we call him R for now, and his real name will be revealed when the time comes. But R is basically Serenity sees them more as a servant, because he's been with Serenity for God knows how long, and so they act as a companion / servant to them. Like Serenity, speaks his mind, but he doesn't want people to know what he's thinking. And one thing that's interesting more about R than Serenity is that R's life force is comprised on that crystal that's on his chest. That's where his life force is. That's his weak point. He has the power, like Serenity, he has the power to heal, but it's less powerful than Serenity's. He has the ability to heal almost any wound that can save someone from death, but he cannot cure any illness. He cannot do like a major life-saving situation. He can just mainly heal injuries. He can reattach limbs if the original limb is pressed against the body, and then he can reattach him and reattach the nerves. But aside from that, he cannot do as much healing as Serenity can. but he is very useful when it comes to healing. And another thing that is interesting about R, for whatever reason, is that he cannot feel emotions. He's kind and everything, but he cannot understand the emotions that the nations and humanity feels. So that's an interesting concept for him. So those are the two major OCs that are going to be with Feliciano throughout the journey. R's purpose is, in case Serenity is separated from Feliciano, R is with Feliciano to protect him and heal him for whatever he needs. Or vice versa, if Feliciano is separated from the nations and he wants to make sure that they're safe, that they don't get killed, he would tell Serenity to have R with them. So at some points in the story, Serenity will be separated from Feliciano for reasons. So the next, and these characters are more for the backstory of Rinascita. So first we have Chris. Chris is she's more of a side character of an OC. She's just the best friend of another OC that's coming up. She's very quick-tempered and confident. She will speak her mind quite clearly, and it caused her trouble in the past. So, there's not much to say about her, except she's just very eccentric and very, she's a very awesome character. But I don't want, if I go into more about her, it would spoil it, so I don't want to spoil too much. The next character is Honoka. Honoka is more of a major OC for the backstory. She's a scientist. She likes to question everything about going on. Sadly, though, she has lost her memories. For some reason, there was an incident before the game started that caused her to lose her memories, and she's currently traveling the world to find said memories. So, again, there's not much to say about her. Now, there's another character who is more of a mystery, is Rain. Rain is Honoka's, let's say, partner. They're non-binary with a more male appearance. But not much is known about Rain, except that he just appeared in Honoka's life one day, and they eventually fell for Honoka, and Honoka and them had gotten into a relationship. Shortly after Honoka lost her memories, though, they had vanished, and they have been seen since. So there's not much known about Rain. But if y'all can guess what's going on with Rain, I will personally give you a cookie, because just in this dialogue, just explaining these characters alone, it's not too hard to figure out what Rain's doing. But I'm not going to spoil what's going on. And that is it. My plan for the game, I'm hoping just to get chapter 4 done, and then I'll move on to chapter 5, which will be the start of the Russia arc, which I'm excited for, because it's more light compared to the ending of chapter 4, because chapter 4 is going to be a heavy ending. I'm not going to say what, but it's going to be so fucking heavy. But my plan is to hopefully get that done, but before I release chapter 5, 6, whatever, I plan to get Death of the Rose done, so Kyo can finally play it, and people can stop nagging about her and Dig playing it, because I had asked them not to play it because it is such a cringe-worthy game. That is the truth. That's my opinion. I'm sorry. But, yeah, and that's pretty much it. So, thank you all for listening. And, if any of you have any questions about, different parts of the story that you want to find out about, because I'm willing to tell you, what's going on if you don't tell, everyone else. I will be willing to tell you, and all you gotta is just message me on DeviantArt, or you can, comment on the video, and I will answer. So, thanks to y'all for listening, and I'll see y'all later. Bye!